तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं So now we have come to a stage where we are discussing this 14th chapter. Correct? Just do not disturb unless somebody in trouble.
Is going very difficult.
Yes.
Something to be said, right?
No. Bhagavad Gita reading. So that is titles will change later on. So now we have discussed first 6 chapters. What do they contain? What is the content of first 6 chapters according to Prabhupada?
Karma.
No, 1 to 6. 1 to 6 contains Atma Jnana, Jiva Jnana. And 7 to 12 contains Ishvara Jnana. Then next 6 chapters are going to have Prakriti. So what was the first chapter in this Prakriti Jnana? 13th chapter. What it was about?
Kshetra, Kshatragya, and how the Kshatragya functions.
Yes. So basically, Lord is making a difference right from the beginning between body and soul. He is not saying both are same. Body is different and soul is different. That is the beginning of spiritual life. And here he is explaining it in a different way. Means the soul is a knowledgeable entity. And the body itself doesn't have any knowledge. It is dead matter. So the soul knows the body, and there is one more soul, the super soul, who also knows the body. But he knows all the bodies, whereas our soul knows just our body. Now, okay, having knowledge of this body, we are into the networks of 3 modes. That was the conclusion of the 13th chapter. 13th chapter, last shloka, if we read, what is it saying? Those who see with the eyes of knowledge the difference between body and knower of the body can understand the process of liberation from material bondage and attain the supreme goal. Okay. So, those who see that the body and the seer, Kshetra and Kshetrajna are different, they will, what happens is they will eventually achieve the supreme goal. And at least they will not get degraded. So now, why this level is not happening to everyone? We all have understood that soul is there. We all have understood body is going to get destroyed. So we all take shelter of spiritual master. We all follow the instructions, chant 16 rounds, Hare Krishna mantra, follow everything. This realization, this highest level, what Krishna is repeating again and again, he will be dear to me. He will not have affection to these objects of material world. He will not go behind sense gratification. And such a person will be equal in happiness and distress. So many symptoms he is repeating again and again. 2nd chapter he repeats, then 5th chapter, 4th chapter he repeats, 5th chapter he repeats. Now recently we saw 12th chapter he repeated this. But why it is not happening with us?
Because we have not come to that stage, and like Krishna is giving different stages of different person. So many are getting stuck up there, like their stage of level of understanding or their level of like practice is holding them there, because to raise to that next platform.
Actually, we are all tied. And we are tied by 3 modes of nature. Sattva-guna, Rajoguna and Tamaguna. That is not freeing us to act the way we want. Spirit soul is free. Whereas the material body is not. Material body ties up our freedom.
Yes.
Because we made the wrong choice of choosing the material body, we are tied with it. You see, animals, if a tiger, it has to eat meat. There is no choice. If it gets hungry, it has to kill some animal and eat meat. It is driven by that mode to act in that. If a stool-eating animal is there, it has to eat that. It is driven by that modes to eat that. If you give some nice, tasty food and all, it doesn't feel it. Even in human society, you see, some people are accustomed to eating too much spicy and too much of meat and all those things. We give them very good prasadam, it doesn't appear palatable for them. It's lot of ghee we put and lot of sweet we put and make it so tasty, but it doesn't appear palatable. They are driven by modes. So these three modes play a very vital role in our functioning in society. So just like three colors are there, red, blue, and green. You mix these three colors in different proportions, we'll get all the colors available in the world. So similarly, if we mix these three modes in different proportions, we will get all the varieties of living beings that are available, all the varieties of objects in the world, all the varieties of books, all the varieties of movies, all the varieties of food that we eat, all the varieties of clothes that we wear, all the varieties of languages that we speak. Everything is just a combination of these three. Goodness, passion, ignorance. Sattvagun, Rajagun, Tamogun. Unless you understand how this is acting, we cannot actually make a plan to overcome this. So that is why this chapter of 14th chapter is dedicated for how the three modes are acting. Now there is one question. These three modes are acting on the body level. We are spirit soul. What is the need of Krishna bringing this critical point so late? Why did he not start with this material thing? It makes more sense to start with something which we are dealing with and then bring more complicated things like soul, which we can't see. I get angry, I can experience that. I eat a lot of what is that? Salty food and lot of sweet food and all. I can experience it. So three modes are something that I experience. Soul is something I don't experience. Virata Rupa, Vishwarupa, I don't experience. Why those concepts were brought before and this concept was brought here?
Because until unless we identify, like we know our present position, like position in the sense what is our identity, self-identity, then we can understand how this identity, like self-identity, is working. When I meant to say, first you have to know yourself. Then you know what's going
If
on.
we see our life, how our spiritual life progressed. First, when we came to Krishna consciousness, we were told the importance of body and soul. How we are different from body. Then we were told about God. We were told about association of devotees. Correct. So naturally, we are progressing in this line. And gradually, after knowing these things, when we progress further, we are going. At one point of time, suddenly the vehicles closed. Madhav Shraddha, Tata Sadhu Sangha, Vajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti stage. At Anartha Nivritti, it's going on. We never know whether we are going in right direction or no, something. Now, practically in our life, we are seeing that this is the stage when we should understand that it is not just we who are doing. Initially in Krishna consciousness moment, I was seeing everyone was doing 16 rounds. After 3-4 months when I started, I said, I can do better than them. I can do 20 rounds. And I started doing 20 rounds. So initial enthusiasm, I was thinking I'm doing more than others by doing 20 rounds. Then as things progress, life settles down, we understand that it's not so easy. To maintain the O's is not so easy. There are a lot of challenges. Those challenges are given by the three modes. And at this critical stage, we should actually examine the modes. Many times what happens, as I told you, we just read the second chapter and close the book. Okay, I understood it. No more to study. But unless you understand how Prakriti is acting on us, we cannot overcome the forces. That is why, even after coming to devotional service, even after practicing serious devotional service, in fact, when we start practicing serious devotional service, we exactly understand that the modes are acting on us. Till that time, we are in Tamoguna. We are not even aware that the modes are acting on us. We are just
Something is
driven by the
going on.
modes. So that is why Lord chose to keep this topic at this point of time, critically, because now, oh, after practicing bhakti devotional service, then we understand, oh, no, it's not just that I have become a bhakta, everything is a royal road for
We
me.
don't be in the hype.
No, you will understand, oh, no, problems are there. So that's why very systematically, Krishna has given this knowledge of the three modes of material nature. And actually, Krishna starts, how does he start? He starts with the creation. That you see, this universe is created by me, and every living entity is injected by me, seed giving father. So it's such a beautiful thing that whenever a pralaya takes place, there are so many living entities in hell. There are many living entities in animal species of hell. There are many living entities in human species. Even among humans, there may be some Brahmana, there may be some Shudra, there may be some outcast Chandala. There are so many varieties even among humans. Even among them, they have different varieties of desires. Somebody is aspiring that I'll build a big house. Somebody is aspiring that I will have a big company. I will make lots of money, lots of gold. Now, when somebody is aspiring to go to heaven, somebody is already in heaven. When the pralaya happens, all these things will be destroyed. And when the next creation takes place, it's the Lord's responsibility to put that right jiva in the right place. Understanding? It is such a complicated affair. His aspiration to build a house was not fulfilled. He has to be put in that environment where his aspiration to build a house. His aspiration to secure that knowledge is not fulfilled. He has to be put in that place. This person who ate a lot of meat, his aspiration to kill animals is not fulfilled. So he should be given the birth of a tiger. Means when you say Aham Bija Pradapita, he has to make sure that the right seed goes to the right place. So,
This is very complicated.
so it is such a complicated task that he is doing. And how he manages this whole thing? By simple concept of three modes of nature. He first leaves the three modes, Sattva-guna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna. And they start acting and they start placing the jivas in the right place. So, in this way, everything is practically carried by three modes, which is the shloka. That is okay. Prakrite Priyamanani Gunai Karmani Sarvasha Ahankara Vimudatma Kartaham iti.
He is like Ahankar thinks himself as a doer.
Yeah, everyone thinks himself as a doer. Actually, everything is carried out by three modes of Prakriti, three modes of material nature. Sattva-guna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna is making things happen. But what we are thinking, that will come in 18th chapter, which are the five causes of Adhisthana, Meta, Karta, Karnam, Chapratakvidam, Vidashta, Pratak, Cheshta, Devam, Chevata, Vacham. All five factors are there. There is no denial of that. But in that, important thing is the three modes that are acting. And here Krishna gives definition of goodness is illuminating, frees from sinful reactions, mode of passion, unlimited desires, and mode of ignorance is delusion. It is all Brahma. It creates people in illusion and keeps them happy in illusion only. Okay. And each of them have their conditioning. God of goodness is conditioning happiness, passion conditions to actors, ignorance conditions ones to madness. So it's all very beautifully described by Krishna, how each mode is acting and what happens when one dies in the respective modes. Urdhvam gachanti sattva, madhya tishtanti sattva, adho gachanti tamasa. When you are dying in Sattva-guna, you go to the higher stages and higher forms of life. Rajoguna, you be among human beings or in this world. Tamoguna means you fall down. Okay. So, then he tells about knowledge and all these things. Now, Krishna gives one hint saying that okay. Once you transcend above three modes, then you will be free from cycle of birth and death. Just gives one hint and closes it. But Arjuna is more interested. He is in a war. Conch is blown. He had already raised the arrow. What is the need for him to again extend the discussion? Because Bhagavad Gita is so important. If somebody says, I don't have time for Bhagavad Gita, you should say, you are not like Arjuna.
He is like really arrows the robot is come and he's just standing.
In that emergency situation when arrows are coming, he had enough time to study the whole Bhagavad Gita, hear it, and ask more questions. Well, we are not so busy. What is the problem for us? So he's asking what are the symptoms of those who have transcended three modes. Then he speaks about how they are unwavering and undisturbed. It's the same thing again. So he is from the beginning speaking about pure devotee of Krishna. So pure devotee is the one who has transcended. Pure devotee is the one who takes up to devotional service. Pure devotee is the Siddha Prajna. So it's the same person he's speaking of again and again.
Yes, so Prabhupada from beginning is Krishna consciousness.
Yes.
From beginning is Krishna consciousness.
Yes. But Arjuna's level is rising and he is gradually coming to that. And Brahmanoi Pratishtham, the whole source of Brahman is Krishna himself. So all these things he says, and in this way, what he says is that we are in three modes. Eventual goal is to go beyond the three modes. Now act in three modes. Act in three modes in such a way that the mode which is going to take you above, that mode you have to take more shelter. Which is that mode? Sattva mode. Because urdhvam gachanti sattva. Only that is going to take you. So bring more sattva mode. Now this is very complicated because if a carpenter is there, his actions will be more tamasic. If earlier there were this Bhangish toilet cleaners, they would come home, they would collect the stool and go. It was tamasic act. They had to be in tamoguna to do these things. Now, can we bring them to sattva-guna? Should we make them? No. One thing you should understand is that by following their dharma properly, they are creating a society of sattva-guna.
Which will be affected on them also.
Yes, which will affect them also, and gradually they will elevate to sattva-guna sometime. If we don't have barbers in society, then the brahmanas will be in tamoguna. Because they will have full grown hair. So that way the brahmanas are not going to elevate them. So it's a mess that is created.
It's like cycle, round cycle.
Yeah, you see. So that is why everyone, the whole society should be in sattva-guna, and in that everyone should perform their specific duties. That is the understanding that we get from three modes of material nature. Okay, so now we have understood that we have to go back to Godhead. We have to perform acts in our modes, be specific to sattva-guna, and elevate ourselves in consciousness. Okay. Krishna says in second chapter, Traigunya Vishya Veda, Nistraigunya Bhavarja. So practically he is saying Vedas are speaking about three modes. You have to go beyond three modes. Now also Krishna is saying what? Beyond three modes. So does it mean that we have to reject the Vedas?
No.
What is the importance of Vedas? That is the subject matter of 15th chapter. Okay, that is why this Purushottama Yoga is very, very important chapter in our system. Because we have learned Kshetra Jnana, we have known how three modes are acting, how to free from these three modes. There will play a very critical role. That is one thing which we have to understand here. So Krishna is not telling Traigunya Vishya Veda Nirveda Bhavarja. He is telling Nistraigunya Bhavarja. Means he is not telling that Vedas speak about three modes, so reject the Vedas. He is telling Vedas speak of three modes, so reject the three modes he is telling. A very subtle point you have to understand. Generally, what we say is that, oh, Krishna is saying this, that means Vedas are rejected. No, three modes are rejected, not the Vedas. Vedas play a very important role. Yes, you see, our conditioning is described as a tree. Banyan tree, you have seen, no? Here there is a park. We can see banyan tree growing like anything. So once it starts growing, it fills the whole forest. Then when you start cutting from one place, start cutting till you come to the root, middle part you cut it. Then some rain comes, the first one which was there, some root might be living, that root will again it will be born. So our conditioning is like a banyan tree. There is primary root, there is secondary root. So many places we have been attached because of our desires. We, by practicing devotional service, by practicing this Atma Jnana, everything, we are just cutting these things. But suddenly from some nowhere, some desire comes up. One Mataji was telling me that they are serious practitioners of devotional service. When she was pregnant, woman developed desires when they are pregnant. She developed a desire of watching movies. So, I mean, it is not somebody's fault. What we should understand is that our conditioning has gone to different places. We don't know which desire fructifies well. Guru Maharaj was telling his godbrother told him, it seems, that he was from a Christian background, but he took to devotional service, took initiation from Prabhupada. And so many years he was practically chanting Hare Krishna, doing serious service. And once while going to Vrindavan, they were going in a car, very small road. And from front, one lorry was. It was also going fast, it was also going fast. And last moment, Guru Maharaj explains that Indian drivers have a mystic power. That in emergency, they will just do something and they'll save the situation. So, last moment, the driver did something, he saved them. Now, in that tension, that devotee, he shouted loudly, Mary, Joseph, Jesus.
Oh,
He shouted loudly.
yes.
So then he said, I had practically forgotten this.
Yeah.
So many years I had forgotten this. But in that emergency, suddenly that came out of. Okay. So it may not be bad because Jesus is Son of God. That's a different thing. I'm not getting into that side of things. But the point is that what thing comes up when we don't know?
Oh, which desire grips out?
Yes. It's all we are so much conditioned in this material world. That is the Urdhva Mula Madhashaka explanation. And we are all like different monkeys. Monkeys climb the tree. Some monkeys are up, some monkeys are down. They are all constantly going up down. And they are attracted to some fruit, some branch, some nice leaves, and they get chance to play also. Like that, we are sometimes going to Swargaloka, we are sometimes going to human life, sometimes going to animal life. In this way, we are getting attracted to different places in this banyan tree. But no one wants to come out of the tree. So that is why the only way to cut this tree is asanga shastrena dridena chitva. Strong determination is required. No, I have to cut this material attachment. Only with that strong determination, we will be able to cut it. And once we cut it, what happens? Tadap padam tat parimargitavyam yasmin gata na nivartanti bhuyaha. Yes, after you cut it, then you will get one secret place. Yes, you will get one secret place to go to somewhere. And which is that place? Natad bhashayate suryo na shashanko na pavaka yad gatva na nivartante tadham param. You will go. That nirmana moha, that is there. Means the process is through this. You should be free from false prestige, illusion, lust, all these things you have to give up. Then you will get that secret way to go to a place where you don't come back to this material world. So whatever Krishna has told, he will come back to me, he will come back to me, he will come back to me. That is clarifying here that so difficult it is coming back. You have to really cut this banyan tree with Asanga Shastra, with great strong determination that I will be free from lust, I will be free from false prestige illusion, I will do it with that strong determination. He has to surrender unto the Supreme Lord and he has to cut this tree. Then only that route is possible. Okay. Now, is that possible for us? Till now, we were thinking that, oh, this marg, Bhakti Marga is so easy. And Hare Krishna, everything will come and all. But in our conditioning, such a strong determination, is it possible? Then we start looking for shortcuts. When the path is difficult, we'll say, no, Guru's mercy is there on us. Krishna's mercy is there on us.
Are you acting in such a way that they are?
That is the point. So we are. Is there any? I was the other day. There are this thought is floating very strongly in ISKCON that Krishna is very strict. He says Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. But Gaurang Mahaprabhu is more liberal. He says he accepts anyone. Nityananda Prabhu is even more liberal. Even if you don't surrender, he accepts. Where is the Shastra coming from? अत्यंत दुर्लभ प्रेम कोरिबारे दान शिकाय शरणागति भक्तेर. The mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is that he has come to teach Sharanagati. Krishna just expects Sharanagati from Arjuna because Arjuna is supposed to know what surrender is. He has come from a good family background, devotee he is, he has learned from a good Brahmana Guru. Because of very good training, he knows what surrender is. So when Krishna says surrender, it is expected that Arjuna will understand. We are not like that. We don't know what surrender is. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us what is surrender through his life. That is his mercy. He's not telling without surrender you accept. It's a very dangerous theory that is floating. Okay. So that is not easy to become free from material results. Mamai Vamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana Manashashtani Indriyani Prakriti Sthani Karshati. These Prakriti is always attracting them. Mana, Indriyani, everything is always attracting them to this material world. And just like Gandha, the smell is carried by air, the soul is carried because of these desires to different places. So very beautifully he explains this thing, Krishna. So Krishna tells about himself also, that how he is managing everything. He is in everyone's heart. He is doing the digestion part. He is the sun who is giving light, and he is giving remembrance. He is giving forgetfulness. All these things, everything is Krishna only doing. Okay. Now he tells one very critical point that Sarvasya cha mridi sannivishto matta smritir jnanam apavancha Vedeshta sarve ahameva vedyo vedanta krit veda videha. Okay. Okay, first I'll explain the next shloka. Dvavimo purusho loke ksharas chakshara evacha ksharas sarvani bhutani kutas tokshara icchate. There are two purushas. One is kshara and one fallible and infallible. Every living entity is what? Kshara, fallible, which can fall down. Whereas Supreme Lord alone is Akshara. He can never fall down. That risk of falling down is not there in Supreme Lord. That risk of falling down is there in everybody else. Okay, so there is a difference between these two living entities. Now, to bridge this gap between Lord and us, he has created the Vedic scriptures. The Vedic scriptures speak about Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha, Chaturveda Purushartha. Okay, now these four Purusharthas that are there, they are bridge to come to this level where we can understand. Because in the third chapter, what we saw, na buddhi bedam janayed adhyanat karma sangina joshayet sarvakarmani vidvanukta samachar. Everyone is not on the level of pure devotional service. People are differently conditioned. And for the conditioned living beings, what we have to do is, we have to accept them in that level. And you have to give them a program by which they will gradually progress. Vedas can give that program. That is a specialty of the Vedas. So what Shankaracharya says in the Vedas is that there are 4 parts in the Vedas. Samhita, Brahmana, Aranyaka and Upanishad. So Samhitas are mostly used by brahmacharis. They just have to memorize the Samhitas. Once you memorize the Samhitas, then we enter Grahastha Ashrama. That time Brahmana becomes very important because Brahmana tells the rituals that are necessary. Using the Samhitas, how you perform the rituals. Astam Upasprisha, Apa Upasprisha, to touch the water. And all these things, they come part of Brahmana. Then gradually you are leading the life and you are earning money also, you are managing your household. Then there are some tapasyas you have to do to cultivate detachment. Aranyaka gives information about the tapasyas that help us to cultivate detachment and help us to take to Vanaprastha life. Once you are a serious practitioner of Vanaprastha, still bodily consciousness is there. So that strong, there should be a heavy dose in Vanaprastha life to really cultivate the detachment from family, from other attachments, and just focus on God consciousness. For that, Upanishads are there. So these are the 4 things. Now, what Shankaracharya did is that, according to him, Upanishads are the only important. Everything else is not important. Why Upanishads are only important? Because Upanishads give jnana, and jnana is the only source of moksha. So ultimate goal is, or real purushartha is moksha. So everything other than Upanishads is to be rejected as avidya. He calls it avidya. Vedas also. Except for Upanishads, all other parties calls it as avidya. Then there are Mimamsakas like Kumarila Bhatta and others. So Jaimini's followers. For them, most important part are Samhita and Brahmana. Because they say that everything karma is the most important.
Karma is the
See, any sentence you do, he will go home. He will write the book. Any sentence, in the sentence, verb is the most important. Based on the verb, you can actually derive who is doing that action. Who is doing that action, to whom that action is happening, from where the action is coming from. Everything, the source is action. Using this grammatical concept, Jaimini and his followers derive the whole Mimamsa philosophy, saying that most important thing is action. So there are statements like Satyam Dhanam Ananta Brahma, then Tattvamasi Shvetaketu, then what is that? Brahma with Brahma Iva Bhavati. These are Upanishad statements which tell about the supreme absolute truth. Okay. So according to them, there is no action involved in this. There is a story of a boy called Shvetaketu. So this Shvetaketu learned 12 years under his father. Whatever his father knew, he taught. Then his father sent him to a bigger guru who can teach him more. So then he went to that guru and another 12 years he learned under him. He was very expert, very intelligent there. Okay. Then he was very intelligent. He stood first in the class. Everything happened. He gained all that knowledge. Then he came back home. When he came back home, he had this understanding that, oh, I learned so much under this teacher. And my father, he may not be so much knowledgeable. So philosophically, is it right that I should touch his feet or no? He was little confused. So in that confusion, he did not touch the feet of his father and he was just sitting like that. That time, his father, he said, Tattvamasi Shvetaketu. Hey Shvetaketu, you are a spirit soul. You don't understand that. And he gave some 5, 6 examples for that. Spiritual examples he gave, where he says that once you put salt in water and mix it, what happens? Dissolves. You don't see the salt. Similarly, foolish people, they don't see the soul that is existing. They just see the bodily level. He was trying to hint that all this knowledge that you gained and all is all on the bodily platform. So he gave that Atma Jnana to his son at that time. So these statements about Atma Jnana, which are there in Vedas, okay, there is no action involved in this. Aham Brahmasmi, I am spirit soul. Where is the action? There is no action. So what he says is that because action is not involved, so they are not so important. They are arthavada, they are unnecessary statements. What is important is those statements which say swaha, idam agne, idam namama. They are most important because there is action you are offering to somebody, and when you are offering it, then the heavens are obliged to give you results.
The duty bound.
Duty bound to. So this was Krishna's argument during the Govardhan. So there is some room for Mimamsakas also. You cannot reject their philosophy. It is one of the what is that? Shad darshans.
Yeah.
Because it's one of the Shad darshans, Vedas. So it's having some ground. Okay. But their understanding is that only those sections which are there for yajna are most important.
That can't be all in all.
Yes. Shankaracharya's understanding is only the Upanishad statements are most important. Okay. So everyone has bias towards the Nyayikas. Nyaya, followers of Nyaya. For them, the Purusha is most important. Everything is Purusha. There is no Apurusha. Even Vedas are created by some Ishwar. According to them. And so for them, the highest pramana is Tarka, logic. According to Nyayikas, the highest pramana is Tarka. Anything should be proved by Tarka, then it will be accepted. That is their thing. So each of these people are missing something. It is like you have your house and you just want your room to be safe. And in this way, what you do is you break all the other rooms to keep your room safe. What happens?
Ultimately, that will also get broken. But
yeah, that will also get broken. Or you may not get food because kitchen has food. Or you may not get something else which is present somewhere else. So the loss is yours. So that way, by rejecting different sections of Vedas, we are doing that mistake. So even in Krishna consciousness movement, it has happened that we give importance to certain sections of Vedas, like Upanishads, the special statements of those who know the two birds and all this thing, and we reject the other statements. So it's very interesting. The Mimamsakas, okay, now they have to explain why Upanishads are there. So how they explain? Oh, Upanishads are there just to explain rebirth, so that rebirth will take us to Swarga. That is the only thing. Now Shankaracharya has to explain why these first sections are there. So how he explains is that no, this is till you get Atmadhyana, you have to do some rituals to be free from sin. So that is why these rituals are there. Once you reach Atmadhyana, sannyas, actually according to Shankaracharya philosophy, only sannyasi can get liberated.
Ultimate.
So it is a form of fanaticism, extremism, that only one section are allowed to get liberated. So, whereas what Krishna says here, Krishna says, Vedaischa sarve raham eva vedya. All the Vedas, only I am to be known. So it's a very critical, very important statement that we have to accept the whole branch of Vedas, whole section of Vedas as it is. There is Ekavakya in Vedas. Let's say some stuti, Shikshashtaka. Is there Ekavakyata in Shikshashtaka? Ekavakya means what? In one second shloka, Ganesha is glorified as supreme. In fifth, Shiva is glorified as supreme. In eighth, Durga is glorified. In seventh, Krishna. Is there like confusion like that? It's all one message. Now, just like Shikshashtaka, imagine the whole Veda you are looking at together as one stuti, one stotra only. So, there is Ekavakyata in the whole Vedas. What is that Ekavakyata? Vedaischa sarver aham eva vedya. Only Krishna is known through all the Vedas. Nobody else is known. Only Krishna is known through all the Vedas. And one more thing Krishna clarifies here, Vedanta Krit Veda Videha Chama. He is the writer of Vedanta Sutra. As which incarnation he wrote the Vedanta Sutra? As Vedavyas he wrote. And he knows the Vedas. He doesn't say I have created the Vedas. He says I know the Vedas. He is the knower of all the Vedas. Actually, Vedas are eternally stored in the intelligence of in the brain of Krishna, Supreme Lord. Puranas, in every kalpa, there is a different version of Purana that comes because now Vyasa is written. So different Vyasas in different kalpas write different Puranas. Each Purana that the Vyasa writes goes and gets stored in the brain of Krishna eternally.
Oh,
In each kalpa, since time immemorial, whatever is being written Purana, that goes and stores eternally.
that means you can say like this. Every time Vyasa, the different Vyasas write different Puranas. Like, well, the name is the same, but the content would be the different. That means he is writing his realization according to that kalpa.
That kalpa and whatever is needed for the students of that.
Okay.
But it doesn't conflict with the Vedas.
But it's like within the.
Because Vedas are being transferred from kalpa to kalpa. See, just imagine Vedas are so universal. Okay. Now I have made some rules for myself. If I extend that rules to you, it may not be applicable to you, you may not like it. Because for you, there is a different thing, there is a different situation, you want some other rules. Four of us sit and decide some common rules. Okay. Now, when four of us decide some common rules, that may be applying for us, the neighboring people may not be ready for. We have the Constitution of India, which is one common law for the whole India. But Pakistanis will not agree for that, or Chinese will not agree.
Well, they're a different country.
Yes, they will not agree. What I'm saying is that man cannot make something universal and common for everyone, because man is having four defects.
Okay, I get to the point.
He commits mistakes, he is illusioned, and he has what is that? Imperfect senses and cheating problems. Brahma Pramad Vipralipsa and Karama. Because of these defects, he cannot create anything which is universal for all humanity, for all everyone else. Vedas are so universal that they are for all humanity, for all times, and for all places. Previous Kalpa also, those rules applied. Previous Brahma also, those rules applied. 100 Brahmas later also, the same will apply. So, can you imagine? So universal Vedas are. Because they are so universal, sometimes people get lost in 3 months. Understanding this point, why people get lost in 3 months? Because it is universal, and in the process of it being universal, when you don't have a right acharya to explain it, you sometimes take the
Wrong steps.
karma kanda part of it, or something which gives temporary result. That is where you are lost. That's why Krishna says, Vaigunya Vishaya Veda, Nistraigunya Veda. Krishna never says that you have to reject the Vedas.
There is very difference between rejecting 3 modes and just.
Yes. So, Uttama Purushasthanya Paramatma Ityadharata Yo Lokatrayam Avishya Vibhartyavya Ishvara. So, there is the Uttama Purusha. Okay. Supreme Lord. Okay. And he is maintaining the 3 words. Tasmat Ksharamati Tuam Aksharadapi Chottama Atosmi Loke Vedecha Pratita Purushottama. See, this is like certification. That Loke and Vede. Loka can mean material subject matters. It can also mean Paurusha Granthas. Which are the Paurusha Granthas? Ramayana, Mahabharata, and Puranas, Itihasas. All these are Paurusha Granthas. And Vede means Apurusha. So both in Apurusha and Paurusha, there is only Purushottama that is present. There is only Supreme Lord who is glorified, spoken of, nobody else is spoken. This gives a very universal message.
Can you please repeat this language?
In both the Paurusha Granthas and Apurusha Vedas and everything else like Puranas, Brahma Sutra, Mahabharata, Ramayana, all these are Paurusha and Vedas are Apurusha. In both places, only Supreme Lord Purushottama is only glorified. Nobody else is glorified. Yes. This is the universal formula. Vede Ramayane Chaiva Purane Bharate Kada Adi Ante Cha Madhya Cha Hari Sarvatra. It's just Hari only who is glorified. It is only Purushottama. So this Purushottama Yoga is very critical to understand. That even if you study the Vedic literatures, you are actually glorifying Purushottama. So if you have this understanding, then the universal Vedas become very easily approachable to us, very easily understandable to us. योगाम एवं असमूढ़ो जानाति पुरुषोत्तम ससर्वविद भजति माम सर्वभावेन भारत इति गुह्यतमं शास्त्रम इदमुक्त्वा मया नघ एतद्वो बद्ध्वा बुद्धिमान् स्यात् कृतकृत्यश्च भारत. So the intelligent people understand this properly in the right context. Otherwise, we are just taking one section and we are fanatically getting this. Oh no, this is important. This is important. At the introduction to Bhagavad Gita, why Prabhupada so much stresses on Vedas? What examples he gives to establish the Vedic authority?
Cow dung.
Yes.
And
Stool of animal, but cow dung is pure.
Bone of the conch.
Yes. So he established that Vedas are an authority, right in the beginning he establishes. So they are such an important guide. Now, what has this Veda to do with our three modes conditioning? So whatever place we are in, from there it starts elevating us up. If you are conditioned into Swarga consciousness, it starts slowly elevating us because there is some Krishna Arpanamastu in that, some bhakti involved in that. That little bhakti will start us elevating. So Vedas being universal, it will trap everyone under itself and slowly start elevating. So if you want to make a big change in society, then this is required. Asanga Shastrena Drunena Chitva, we have to cut the material attachments of this whole world in a big way. The Urdhva Moolam, that roots are spread everywhere. Our material conditionings are spread everywhere in this material world. If we really want to make a big change, then these Vedas are very important in society. Purushottama Yoga, if you understand and in that spirit you take the Vedas, it becomes easy to cut this. Whereas, if we are just focused on making a few people chant Hare Krishna, take their initiation, let them get initiated, and okay, they are chanting. And you cannot, first of all, they themselves, they cannot cut all the attachments. And if you want to make a big change in society, it is not possible. So if you want that big change, then this Vedic background is very much required. That is why Purushottama Yoga becomes very, very important. And that deliberately Krishna knows that this confusion is going to come in people. They are going to become fanatic sahajas, considering themselves pure devotees. So he has grounded them by explaining what three modes and the Purushottama Yoga. Is this clear? Yes. Any doubts in this, you can ask. 16th, 17th together we will cover in one day. 18th I will give one full day. So that we will finish. 18th is very in fact 18th I may give 2 days. 2 sessions also.
It's very interesting actually, Gita. How is he taking from beginning to end? If you study very nicely, you will understand. Prabhupada observed the wow, like what Krishna wants to say. Like you say, he's repeatedly saying pure devotee. Why he's saying pure devotee? Like again, many times there were like people question why this Swami Prabhupada is saying Krishna consciousness from beginning of his commentary. That's what Krishna is, the purpose of Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, he says. Right?
But you see, Krishna is setting the high standard of pure devotee. He is also coming to our level and creating a plan for us.
Exactly.
Arurukshor Munir Yoga Karma Karana Machate Yoga Rudasya Tatseva Shama Karana Machate. From the whole yoga ladder he is constructing for us. So that everyone from their level they can gradually elevate to the top. So that makes Bhagavad Gita very practical. And by not understanding this, we are accepting different levels of impracticalities. One thing is by not accepting the right actions to be done for yajna, we might become fanatic sahajas. Or if we are only in pursuit of knowledge without practically doing devotional service, that is mental speculation. We end up completely mental speculating. Then there are people, Hindus, who are mostly in the karma mark, but they don't care for knowledge. Then they just become fanatic followers and ritualistic. So, except for the message of Krishna, everything else is fanaticism. This message that we are sharing now, the message of Krishna that is coming up, except for this, everything becomes fanatic and impractical. It will collapse eventually.
Yeah, that's one more interesting point you made from this series. Like Shankaracharya could not reject Gita. Such a beautifully philosophically presented. If you take each chapter, if you see the connectivity or just take one chapter, it's like such an interesting topic is going on. So much philosophy is going like Krishna said. Simple, he's speaking very simple things, but if you just read it and think of that, it's like really taking very deep meaning.